to the headliners. I'm your host, Edward Mbeche, better known by the other name is Ed Blaze in the comedy industry. Today, I have my friend, the first lady of comedy, Sylvia T. Morrison. So maybe I should say the whole name, Sylvia Tremor Morrison, right?
Yes,
Welcome to
that's
the
it.
headliners, Miss.
That's it.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm just excited to have you. Like we can go into like more detail. I know like the first black female I always mess up this word,
Impressionist.
impressionist, and also the first uh, black female writer for SNL. But of course, you don't get your credit because you know the industry, right? Yeah, yeah. But we know, yeah,
Yes.
and people in
Yes.
the industry knows. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. And with this new podcast, I start with the headliner, and I really appreciate just for taking the time. Welcome to the headliner. So maybe let's do this. Let's go back a little bit
Okay.
for people who do not know who Sylvia T. Morrison. Who are you? Like what's like maybe just go back a little bit, kind of throw back and be like, who are you? Just just a little bit for people to know
Well, you said my name is. I'm Sylvia Tremor Morrison.
you. Mhm.
I'm America's first woman of color impressionist in the history of this nation.
Yep.
I'm also the first Black girl hired as an associate writer for Saturday Night Live, and I'm the only woman ever to host a major roast. I replaced Richard Pryor in 1979
Yep.
at the Muhammad Ali roast, and which was just a dream. Just with all the people, the roasters they had. It was taped for NBC, but they had some contractual problems, so it never got shown on television. And after almost 30 some years,
Yep.
I fell upon a copy of the whole roast. And
Exactly.
there I was.
There's proof. There's a video. You, Muhammad Ali, and all the heavy hitters, history being made. Yes. Yes. Hmm.
So there, that's basically what. And I'm a mother. I'm an author of 3 books, soon to be 5 books.
Yeah.
I have 2 pending. One hasn't been written all the way, but I do have 3 completed books that are on Amazon, and one
Yeah.
is in the Library of Congress. And I'm just excited about all of that stuff. I'm
Give
excited.
us the name of the books, like for.
Okay, my first book, which I promised myself once I wrote it, I would never write another book again because it took me like 5 years,
Yeah.
and it made me understand why authors are so revered. People respect authors, and I was like, yeah, they just should because it took me 5 years to get this book together. And the name of that book, it's a journey through my first 30 some years of comedy, is entitled Almost There Almost. And
Almost
then
there, almost. Mhm.
yeah, Almost There
And
Almost.
this
Many
can be
Faces
found
of
on
Sylvia.
Amazon and all bookstore, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they're
Yes.
all my books on Amazon.
Mhm.
Um, the second book was inspired by Whitney Houston
Uh-huh.
because I don't know if you know Anaya, but she actually, when she was at like, I mean, she was Whitney Houston.
And who
Uh,
you toured with her? And, yep.
I toured with her in 23 cities. I get tickled because people tell me that I did a show with Whitney, and I'm like,
Yeah.
to myself, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I toured with her. I was like on the road, baby.
Yeah. Exactly.
23
Yeah.
major United States
Yeah. That was your
cities.
girl, like tour on opening for her and all. Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the book Jelly Beans from Heaven was inspired by her.
That's the second book. Jerry
The second
Beans.
book,
Yep.
yes.
Mhm.
And then in 2020, I caught the horror of COVID.
Oh,
I had the COVID that kills.
I remember I spoke to you. Yep.
God.
Yep.
And it was so bad. It was so horrible. And I was listening to some of my friends on social media say it's not real. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I have it connected with pneumonia.
Exactly. Yep.
So I was like on my deathbed. And it was so unlike anything I could ever imagine. I wrote a book about it, and
Mhm.
it's called Me, Satan, God, and COVID-19, because all four of us were in the room together.
Yeah, me setting
Me,
COVID,
Satan, God, and
God,
COVID-19.
COVID-19. That's your third book, uh-huh.
That's my third book.
And that's your book now. So you're going for the fourth one now, right?
Yeah, the fourth one is actually a chapter 2 of Jelly Beans from Heaven,
Okay.
because I didn't know that Jelly Beans from Heaven was going to get the response it got. I mean, it went bananas, because it's a fictional book, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff that I came up with, and people absolutely loved it. I had one guy who's about 75 years old read the book and sent me a review and said, if you read Sylvia's book Jelly Beans from Heaven, you won't be afraid to die.
Hmm.
And I said, wow, that was so deep. So I'm doing part 2,
Yeah.
which is it almost kind of reminds me of the Harry Potter series, because it's like it's nuts and it's crazy. It's so inspiring. I had I don't know if you know comedian John Cia Dixon, but
Yes.
John Cia she read the book and she posted on social media.
Yeah.
If you buy the book and don't like it, I'll reimburse you. And I was like,
Wow.
wow, John. She said, no, Sylvia, that's how much I love that book. So yeah.
I'm one of those bad friends. I should have those books. I should have all those 3 books.
Oh,
I'm gonna I'm gonna get them on Amazon today.
so the Jelly Beans from Heaven 2 book is,
Yeah.
I don't even know where it came from. It had to be a blessing from God.
Yeah.
The stuff that the first book had to be, because it was so, I had another guy that sent me a review, and the reviews have been amazing. He sent me a review and he said, I just wanted to know where your head was when you wrote about the eyes, because I have this chapter called The Eyes.
Mhm.
And what it is, and I don't want to spoil the book for people, is their eyes in heaven,
Yeah.
and God uses them to help the babies when they come. The eyes escort, they go down from heaven. God sends them back there, just a set of eyes.
Yeah.
Not nobody, no, just eyes. And they go to the father, and another set of eyes, they go to the mother, and they kind of like generate the whole get together thing. And I don't want to spoil it.
Okay. Yeah. Don't.
It's very interesting. And he was like, what? How? Where'd you even get that from? I don't know. I just, it just came to mind.
So would you say, because, like, if something was to be made in a movie or maybe in a TV series, will be the second book, Jelly Beans from God,
Jelly Beans from Heaven.
from Heaven. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm,
Jelly Beans from Heaven. That's the book you would say that will be probably the one to be turned to like a movie or like a TV series.
Oh, it could easily be a movie. I watched the movie The Shack.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, but The Shack was written by a guy who lost his little baby girl on a camping trip, and he was so devastated. To make a long story short, he went to heaven. He went to heaven. Anyway, people were kind of saying this is like The Shack is great. I mean, he sold 15 million copies. The first million he sold out of his trunk. I can't go outside and stand outside with my books in the trunk and so I can't do it. I'll be passed out or something. But the second version of Jelly Beans from Heaven is I talk about the future, what we're going to have 3,000 years from now, how the world is going to be, because we're changing. We're evolving. The whole world is evolving. Technology is just amazing. So I got all this new stuff. I'm so excited about it. So excited.
Do you know what is sad though in this world is, like, when I think about like you just being like an awesome writer, and with this racist or whatever thing in the industry, right? So you have this awesome book where people can really enjoy, maybe if it's turned to like a TV series or like a book, but probably these gatekeepers of their mentality, because they have not matured enough to be like, hey, we're in this world together, we're like flowers in one garden. for
Yes.
them to be like, you know what, let's put this book and turn into it, and people will get to really enjoy it, and probably they will never get to give that chance for an awesome book. It's just sad. It's just sad.
I
Let's go in a let's go. Maybe we can switch there to go to your friend Monique. I know I just saw the thing she was saying. Finally, Netflix opened up for her after going through all this. For them, like either minimizing her, like she's a huge person in the industry, right? So
yes.
she's big, and then for them to just kind of minimize it, and be like, oh no, we're not going to give you this much money. Why? Whatever reason they came up, for her to stand in to stand, I don't know if that's a word, to stand her ground, to be like,
Yeah.
you don't give
Yeah.
me this, I'm not.
Yes.
So what is it? Did you get a chance to talk to her?
You know what, Ed? I am so fortunate that she admires uh, my talent, my gift, and she called me uh, when I guess that Netflix is trying to throw the case out of court.
Yeah.
She called me on the
Oh,
phone.
she sued them.
Yeah. Oh, did she? Did she?
Oh, yeah,
She
okay.
sued them big. I think she sued them. I don't know what she got. I don't know what the bottom line was, but I think she sued them for 400 million. And in my opinion, if she, 10, 15, 25, 35, 45 million for me would have been just fine. Nobody, I don't know if anybody knows what she got, and I really don't care, because when she first stood on that television and told the world she wanted us to stand with her behind the Netflix situation, I felt like she was talking directly to me. I didn't know her at the time what did I know, Monique? No, I didn't know her at the time. We're really good friends now. And I really felt like she was talking to me, because the first 10 years of my career in comedy, I never got paid. Now, let me take that back.
No, yeah.
I got paid for 5 weeks to go to Europe to entertain the American troops out of the first 10 years. So in order for me to live, I was doing other jobs. I was an airline stewardess. I was a secretary. I did whatever I could do in order to live. And but when she said that, I said, I just didn't make any money for 10 years. And when she heard that, she said, Miss Sylvia, let me tell you something, my baby.
Yeah.
She loves when I do that. She loves when I do my impression of her. But she said, and you're still in. I actually met Monique. I was in Vegas. I had been hired to host the Play Awards. It was taking place in Las Vegas. And I wanted to go see George Wallace while I was in Vegas. And I also wanted to see Monique because she was on a residency.
Yeah.
So, Ed, I was on my way to the George Wallace show when I saw a friend of mine who said, Terrence, he's a comedian as well. He said, Monique's going to let me get on the stage on her show tonight. And so I said, let me, you know what? He's from DC. Let me go and support my homeboy. Yeah. So I went to the show, and Rodney Perry told Monique that I was in the audience, and he gave her a bit of my history because we had dinner together before the show. Yeah. And he said, oh my God, Monique is going to love you. She loves history. And when she finds out there's a woman out here who's been doing comedy for 50 plus years, she's going to freak out. And sure enough, she did. And when she found out, to make a really long story short, because that's coming in my second book, the next years, that's like 3 books down. She called me out on stage after she took me backstage, and we talked, and she found out something about my history. And they did a film while I was on stage with Monique at her residency, and they sent me a copy of it. And Ed, when I first saw that film, I was like, she put the accolades out there. She was like, it was a shame, just like you just got finished talking about the industry and how stuff just doesn't go down.
Yeah.
She then she invited me back to Vegas like a month later to do, I think it was 5 shows with her on a residency.
Yeah.
which was a blessing because that residency was huge out there in Vegas. And then the last night that I was there, George Wallace walks in and he sees me performing, runs backstage and says, "You know what? You got to come and do a show with me. You got to come and do a show with me."
Yeah.
And so he invited me to do a show with him at the Bethesda Blues and Jazz Club. After I've been trying to get there for like 5 years. It's really difficult. I'm telling you, I'm telling everybody. Those early years in comedy, up until almost now, it's very difficult for a Black woman.
Yeah. Do you think maybe one of the things too, I was thinking Netflix might be like, okay, fine, we'll give you this much. But in my head, I'm thinking they might give her some money to just get rid of the lawsuit, right? They'll be like, okay, you know what? We gave you last time, I think they were giving her $500,000 to do this special, right?
Right.
Yeah. So now they might be like, oh, you know what? Here is $10 million for you to just throw the case. But they gave her the case there. And then maybe I'm thinking is like from promoting her, right? Like, let's say if it's a white female comedian, get a budget for promoting the marketing budget, which it might be like, okay, you know what? We're going to give a marketing budget $1 million. And then they turn around for her, oh, we're going to give you a marketing budget $50,000. That's how I'm thinking. Like, they might just do that also, where it's just some people who are just, I always go to this thing is like they're not mature. Their mentor is not mature enough to just realize, like, listen, we are all in this together, and one day we're not gonna be here. Like, just also what good stuff you have done to improve life or to put something just meaningful in the world.
Yeah.
But one other thing also I was about to mention, you've been in the game for a long time, and like people in the industry, like people, comedians, any comedian, like up to Ed Murphy, whatever, they know who's Sylvia. But the reason I'm thinking, maybe, do you think maybe you didn't get so popular because you're not a dirty comedian? Like, you're not like on stage, like telling people like hand job jokes. I'm sorry, first.
No, I understand. I understand.
Yeah. Do you think might be one of those people like, yeah, she's too clean, like she tell too clean comedies, like we wanted someone who's telling dirty jokes?
Dirty jokes. Well, I think the difference with the clean comedian that I am and the other comedians, and I love all genres of comedy. I've been watching comics this is my 6th decade, and because I've been clean my entire career, I get the biggest stages in the world. I get some of the events that I get, I just don't even know. And I know that it's got something to do with my talent. I mean, what other reason would they hire me to do their show if it wasn't because of my talent? Now, if I get invited to do President Biden's dinner or his conference, I can't go up there and say certain things.
Yeah.
I can't. Most of the people that they bring for and they're big names. I think the last person I saw to do it was Wanda Sykes.
Yeah.
And Wanda's, I didn't realize how funny she was until I sat down one day and watched her special.
Wanda Sykes, yeah.
Oh my God, she was amazing. And but she cleaned up her whole act. Not that she does a lot of cursing and stuff, but it's like when I first started out, we couldn't even wear pants to school.
Yeah.
We couldn't wear slacks. Couldn't wear jeans. We couldn't. No. So when I first started, I started out clean all the way around.
Yeah.
I dressed clean. I talked clean. I tried to be articulate. Sometimes it came off a little weird, because I was making up words as I was being articulate. And it's like, I don't think that may have had, because, I did the stages with Rodney Dangerfield. I worked with Jay Leno and David Letterman and Robin Williams and just, all kinds of people that women just weren't doing a lot of cursing back then. Now when Def Jam came along, the whole game changed.
They changed,
Like
yeah.
I've noticed that every 10 years that I've been in the game, comedy evolves.
Yeah.
Like now we're in the evolution of internet comics, which I think is amazing because this way they don't have to wait on Hollywood to make a decision as to whether or not you're good enough for us to put our attention.
Yeah.
They make up content, they put it online, millions start to view them, boom. Whole nother game. I absolutely love it. And I hear, some comics saying, no, Sylvia, they're taking away from the whole stand-up genre. I said, no, they're not. People are always going to want to come out and see funny.
Yeah.
They want to witness it. A lot of times they don't want to see it on a screen. They want the real deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So no, I don't think me being clean, and if it did, I wouldn't know. Yeah. But I don't even know how to curse on stage. I couldn't. And I'm okay with that. I'm like, I don't want to because I'd probably mix it up with the good stuff, and I'll be talking about God and say some stuff, and it'll be.
Yeah.
But I love going to see all comedy, all of it.
Yeah.
I've seen thousands of comics in my career. Thousands.
You're from the first time I met you, you're a comedian's comedians. You're the person that love, right? You love to see people progress. You love to see people just enjoy themselves, be who they are, right? That's what I get when I see you from the first time I saw you. You love supporting other comedians. You love to see them doing what they need to do, and that made me I was like, this is a really cool person. From there, that's when I start learning who are you.
Well, you know what? There's a gift with coming. At least I've learned in my career. There's a gift in loving and showing love and appreciating other comics. I get a little upset sometimes when I hear the veterans tearing them down, just tearing new comics down. It's like, you don't have to tear them down. You can give them, criticism without calling them all kind of dumb, so-and-so, so-and-so. You can't do that. You can't do this, because there's no formula in comedy. There's no formula. You can't just say, okay, this is going to catapult me to the Kevin Hart level, or to the Dave Chappelle level. No, there's no formula. You just have to do it. Yeah. So yes, I love the support. I love encouraging people. If they're just like downright bad, just every time I see them, they just, it's like, okay, here we go. But I try to display or transfer that kind of information in a way that it won't tear you down, because it's the worst thing in the world to me as a comic is to bomb. Yeah. When you bomb, it's almost like you can't sleep. I'm talking about people who really want to have comedy in their lives.
And it humbles you. Yeah.
Oh my God, does it? Yeah. I had one experience like that. It was so tiny and short, and nobody else thought I bombed. We know when we bomb.
Yeah.
We know when it's not a good show.
Yep.
We can. I am blessed, as I'm sure many other people are, to, if I do something and I don't think it's up to my caliber, which I'm blessed to have great shows most of the time, just absolutely great shows. I was in the Bahamas a couple of weeks ago with Kathy Hughes she invited me down to the Bahamas to do her 75th birthday. Yeah. And all these industry people, there was Tom Joyner, there was music rappers and writers and directors, and just all kind of stuff from TV One, Radio One. And I kept thinking, oh my God, I really gotta work. I gotta bring it this time. And at the end of the event of my show, people stood up, it was a standing ovation. And that's what was happening when I first went on the road with Whitney Houston. My first 2 or 3 shows with her, I didn't get a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, the audience loved it, but it wasn't, I'm so accustomed to standing ovations that if I don't get one,
Yeah.
I'm
You're
thinking,
like, I bombed, even if you did good.
exactly. It's like, dang, they didn't stand up. To me, not getting a standing ovation is almost equivalent
To bomb me,
bombing.
even if you did really good. But it's like,
So have you ever bombed it?
oh yeah, I did. I did. Horrible. It was horrible.
Let me ask you this. I know you interviewed me, but I just want to know, what did you feel for the next day or two about your mom?
After that, my head was kind of going back, like, why did I bomb? What am I gonna do different the next time? So it's like I kind of emerged into trying to do more, write more funny jokes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like thinking maybe as soon they start booing. Actually, I got booed, not just bombed. I got booed. So and I was like, it was the wrong setting too. I didn't know it was a Howard University, and I didn't know. They just called me like, hey, we had a comedian, but the comedian didn't come. So can you come? It's like the show is tomorrow. I was like, okay, show up there. I didn't know anything, but it was one of those family when family bring their kid to school, so they have some little kids and whatever. And they put me in the auditorium. What is like, I think it's like 1,500 people or whatever. That Howard Theater, not the Howard Theater, but at the school university.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They have a theater in there. I jump on stage, start talking, and there's this joke. I talk about moisturizing, and don't know anything. Theater and all. I say, ooh, boo. It was horrible until then. I realized, oh, guys, you should have told me there were kids in here, like, but from that, still, that was first when I got booed. The next one when I bombed, actually the first one when I bombed, I was in New York, but I was still very new, probably like my third show. So they let me do in New York, where you bring friends at the Gotham Comedy Club. Went in there, bombed. I speeded out really quick to my jokes because I didn't see nobody laughing. When you see nobody laughing, you start speeding after your jokes. So that was those experiences. But if you're a comedian and you love this art, the bombing or the getting booed, those are the one it makes you. It humbles you down, but also makes you wanna figure new ways. How can I turn that around? How can I? Or other people who are after that, they'll be like, it's a horrible feeling. I will never do comedy again. So that can make you, break you, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I remember doing a conference. I
Mhm.
just wanted to have a lot of the new comics to come in and sit down and listen to some of my friends in comedy. This was way before the internet. And I told them then, I said, I want you to look around at the people who are in this room, all the comics.
Mhm.
10 years from now, this group will be so much smaller. It'll be so much smaller. And sure enough, here it is, with more than 10 years later. And, people saying, well, where's so-and-so? Where's so-and-so? Because a lot of people can't take the heat.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't survive not working like comedy full time.
Yeah.
So they either have to have a job on the side
Mhm.
or just struggle.
Yeah.
And even though I
live
did,
at home, kind of, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it's a tough business, and the beauty of it for me is that everybody's trying to be a comedian now. I'm not like every single person, but I mean, there's just so many people who think that they can do that. There's an art to comedy.
Mhm.
There's an art to it, and I always tell people there's no formula. You just have to be funny. You just have to, or have something that engages your audience. That makes them want to see you. You just have to.
Yeah.
So,
Since I know you're busy writing your books, and probably I don't know if you have plan of producing like a special. Do you have any plans producing a special for either sell to Netflix or whatever other channel like Amazon?
well, I don't have anything like that But it's amazing that after all these years, I recently got 2 movie offers
Mhm.
and 1 sitcom offer. That's from the sitcom is from out of DC. I'm excited because I have a couple of heavy hitters in the sitcom
Yeah.
who are accustomed to doing sitcoms because they've played in sitcoms before. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I ever going to finish my books? Because I'm going to be extremely busy. I'm actually hosting the Miss Black America
Yeah.
pageant
Yeah.
in Philadelphia this year as the backstage host interviewer with USA Today.
Did
So
you hosted that before also, right?
I hosted it before
Mhm.
before the pandemic,
Mhm.
and because I was a contestant back in the 70s,
Mhm.
and I tied for first place with Bernadette Stanis, who's
Mhm.
Thelma from Good Times.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love to tell that story because it was like,
Yeah.
I did we did a like an advertisement for the Miss Black America pageant, and I actually posted it the other day, folks. So if you look on my page, you'll see uh, the me and Thelma ad. And
Big-
I
big-
said to her, I said, shoot, when you walked out on that stage in that bathing suit, I said, I ain't going out there. I'm not going out there. But I
No,
ended
no,
up actually,
I was about before. Sorry to cut you off, but I was about to say, because when you mentioned about you used to be a flight steward, uh, back then is like they used to. You can't just be a flight steward. You have to be hot, and everybody, even the travel people, come in suit, business, looking like. So yeah, of course. Go
yeah,
ahead.
back then, we there were, if you saw a black airline stewardess, it was almost like
A
back in
model.
the day when we would see a black person on TV.
Yeah.
You'd be, it's a colored person. It's a colored person on TV. It's like, so when you got on the plane, you as an airline stewardess, they had what they call personal appearance supervisors.
Hmm.
You had to go before your supervisor before you went on the plane so that she could check you out from head to toe.
Yeah.
If your nails weren't done, if your hair was messy, if all you were not getting on that plane.
That's what I was about to say. Like
Yeah.
back then, people are really judging you. They don't care
Oh,
about this new age. They'd be like, "No, you have to be pretty to be."
and you have to be a certain size.
Yep.
Your hair couldn't be a certain length. If it was, you either had to have it cut or you had to wear this thing over your head because we served food back then.
Yep. Yep.
We served drinks and food. So, and here, I think you're like this, Ed. Whenever I'd be captain of the flight attendants on board, because we flew a lot of L-1011s back then.
Yeah.
I would always, instead of making the announcements normal, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to flight number 123 to Miami, Florida, with continuing services on to Puerto Rico. I would say to my passengers, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard flight number 123 to Miami, Florida, with continuing service to Kingston, Jamaica. Today, I have 3 flight attendants assisting me. One, Lily Tomlin, and I would call up my airline stewardesses and say, can you imagine if you were, as we're taxiing down the runway, all of your stewardesses were stars? And then I'd go, like, if Lily Tomlin was your stewardess, she'd say, yeah. And I'm telling you, they loved it so much.
Yeah.
Eastern Airlines got so many letters from me entertaining the people on board that when I did enter the Miss Black America contest, Eastern sponsored me.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't even tell that story a lot, but it was a big deal. They actually sponsored me in the Miss Black America contest.
That's huge. Yeah. That's big.
Because they had a lot of white people sending in letters saying, "Oh my God, we had this girl, one of our captain, our lead airline stewardess, Sylvia. Oh my God, Chief, oh my God." We didn't even have Karens back then,
Karen was still being developed.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. But yeah, so it was quite an ocean back then. And I only went to the airlines mainly for one, I needed a job, but I couldn't get a job that interfered with my comedy.
Yeah.
Going around different places. But as an airline stewardess, I could fly for free from New York to LA,
Mhm.
from LA to DC to Atlanta, whatever, So it was the perfect job. It was the
Yeah.
perfect job.
Yeah, you got to travel, kind of see the country that way. So that's
Yes.
awesome. Question about your friends, Monique,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we
with
we
this
went on.
DL Hughley thing. What do you think about what was going on between her and DL Hughley? Not
And
to put you in the spot.
I just don't. I try not to get into the stuff like Will Smith slapped Chris or DL and Monique were uh, at odds. Now, Monique is a dear friend of mine now. I mean, it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if she's listening right now because she gives me so much respect. She gives me so many kudos and so much. Um, I do know in this business, I do know this after having been in here for over 50 years. It's a lot of stuff that the public doesn't get a chance to see or hear about or whatever. They put out there what they want it to be. So I just try not to get involved.
Yeah.
I can't. I love DL Hughley,
Yeah.
and I love Monique. Now, Monique has been one of my biggest supporters. As a matter of fact, right now there's a video going that I posted just the other day of Monique announcing on one of her interviews what she thinks about me. She's had interviews with T.I. and Tiny. She tells them about Sylvia. Every time she goes somewhere, does something, she talks about me, and she promised me she would do that when I met her back in 2019. Because she said, Sylvia, the world just needs to know that you exist and you're still here.
Yep.
And so with that whole DL and Monique, I saw how she got dragged through the mud when she first announced the Netflix thing. And then I saw how she got dragged with the whole DL Hughley. I saw half the people with Monique and half the people with DL Hughley. And what I appreciated is that she apologized.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know she ended up apologizing. Yeah.
She apologized to DL's family
Mhm.
for talking about his daughter.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like just queenly.
Yeah.
For her, after all that they went through, and she comes out and she says, I want to apologize, especially to his daughter. So,
stay kind of yeah. Just good.
I sent her a note the other day when she announced that she was doing a Netflix special. So that should tell the public something, because I've seen stuff where people say she didn't get a dime from Netflix. And I'm like, she's doing a special with Netflix, and she's doing a movie with Lee Daniels, The Deliverance.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's very happy about it.
So I guess this is the thing too, like, because sometime when the news breaks, you think maybe like, oh, imagine like when Dave Chappelle walked away from the 50 million, right?
Right.
So everybody like, oh, how can you walk away from 50 million? Because he stood his ground. He's like, listen, if you guys not treat me right. And she did the same thing. Like, hey, you guys gotta treat me right for me to do so. And finally they folded. They are like, oh, you know what? Okay, fine, we'll give you, because sometimes you gotta stand for your value.
Absolutely.
Be like, listen, yeah. So you can't just fold in because of this company say so, kind of, yeah.
It's almost like if someone was to come to you and say, Ed, I got 30 million for you. Yes, you're going to be excited. The average person would.
Yeah.
Where do I sign?
Mm-hmm.
But what do you have to do for that 30 million?
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't even know. But I know some people say, I don't care what I have to do. $30 million I'm doing.
Oh, yeah. Of
Sometimes
course.
You got to think about your integrity. You got to think about your, it's like a lot involved with that. A lot.
Yeah. There's always someone who has no value. It's all about the money. So they're like,
I was friends with Rashida Moore. Mm-hmm. Rashida Moore was the woman behind the Marion Barry demise.
Yes.
Where I grew up with her family. She and her sister and two other friends of mine were there my first night. I invited them for the opening of me being at Saturday Night Live. I only invited 4 friends, and she was one of them. And, a major magazine had come to me for me to tell them my story about her, Whitney Houston, Anita Hill, and who was the other one? Well, anyway, they offered me a lot of money. It was a lot of money. And at that time, I'm not going to lie, I could have used that. Oh, God, what? I needed that money, but
Yeah.
I could not. I mean, Whitney Houston gave me a chance of a lifetime. How would I, what? I mean, I just couldn't see myself
Yeah.
telling the world some of the secrets that she trusted me with.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And I know the Black community would have just rode me probably for the rest of my career. Anita Hill was with the whole Clarence, with the whole Clarence Thomas thing. Now I did write about that in my book, but I wrote about it from the positive side because that woman is incredibly amazing.
Yeah.
And I wrote about why I thought they treated her the way they did. So that's in my autobiography. Almost there, almost. If anybody wants to go and read, you can get the book on Amazon. Now I'm only kidding.
There you go. Yeah, that's like, a shout out to our friends. One of our friends that we know. You know who I'm talking about?
Is it Heather?
Yeah, here we go. Shout out to Heather.
You know what? I love Heather. I love her. I've always loved Heather. She's always been such a lady. She's funny too now.
Yeah.
She's not even a professional comedian.
Yeah.
She is funny.
You're always trying to like just.
And I'm sorry, I cut you off before you told me what you were going to say about Heather.
What you say?
I said, I'm sorry to cut you off. You were going to say something about Heather, and I cut you all the way off.
No. Sorry. No. Yeah. She's our friend. She's our awesome friend. So
oh, she is.
Yeah,
and you know she never changes.
Hmm?
She never changes. She's always the same.
Very good person. Yeah. She's always there. Like if I say, hey, what are you doing? Can we talk? She's always there. She's awesome. Yeah. My thing, 1 to 2 years, if everything good, I would love to produce your special.
You would love to. I'm sorry.
To produce your special.
Wow.
Like, let's say we shoot like at the Howard Theater or something. That would be. We need to keep talking. I would love to.
You know, Ed, when I first saw you, not met you, when I first saw you, you were. I would see these shows, and I was like, "Well, how did he get a hold of so and so?" And how did he get? I remember you bought Talent in one week, then you bought. I mean, and this was like 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And you were bringing all these comics in, and the shows would be packed, and everybody was talking about you. You were like the talk of the town. And I said, "What?"
And you're like, "Who is this Edward?"
Exactly. And then one day I came in, and you came to the door, and you said, "Come with me, First Lady." I think that's right after you started calling me First Lady. And nobody could call me First Lady. Like nobody. I'm like, no, that's Ed Blaze. That's Ed. Yeah. And you set me down in a VIP area, and I didn't even really know you. You know, it's like, I said, what a gentleman. And I never got a chance to talk to you the rest of the show, because you were busy. You know, you were busy. And but I knew I had my admiration set already. So that's why, all you have to just say, Sylvia, can you do something? Yes, I can. Because I was so excited. I don't know if people know, and I'm sure if this is streaming on my Facebook page, they'll know that we were supposed to do this. The day before yesterday?
Yes.
And I was so excited, but we had some technical difficulties on my end. And then I thought about it. And I said, he's such a gentleman. He didn't even throw me out to the lions. No. Because my computer was acting a fool, and but I appreciated that too.
That would not happen. I know the technical support cannot happen. That I cannot destroy friendship because of the glitch in the system. So yeah.
See, if that had been Whoopi Goldberg, if that had been Whoopi Goldberg, she'd have said this. She'd have said, "Wait a minute, hold on."
Yeah.
Okay, listen, Ed, listen. Now we've been trying to do this now for a while, and I'm cool with that. But now I want to invite you on my show, The View. How about that?
No, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Let's do this. I know we kind of went over the time, but it's just a really awesome conversation. What makes you happy? Like what makes you smile? Like in life, just in life,
Oh, in
general.
life,
Mhm.
I don't know how God did it, but I have two children who I love with everything I have. And I lost both my parents in the same year in, back in the 70s. And I promised I never wanted to love like that again. I never wanted to have that feeling again. So when I had my children, here it comes all over again.
Yeah.
But then they had children, and grandchildren they're like stars.
Yeah.
They're like the stars and the moon. And I love the grandchildren in a whole different way
Yeah.
than I love my children. So that makes me happy. And the other part about life itself that makes me happy is I think we just have so much negative stuff going on in the world.
Yeah.
That I like to talk about the good things. I mean, that really pleases me. I like to pass out compliments. I love to tell people when I don't like, a lot of people think I'm just fooling, just shucking and jive. Oh, Sylvia, you probably say that to everybody. And I do. I try to look for the good in people because I hope that transfers in reverse. I hope that they'll see the good in me. I don't pass the compliments out for that reason. But I love doing it. I love to see, and I love people that can accept a compliment.
Yeah.
Because I feel sad if I say, Ed, I don't know if you're just absolutely handsome. You look like a prince from out of Africa, and if I was to say that to somebody or you or whatever, and you go, oh, go ahead with that, Sylvia. It's like I know that they secretly really think that, but when somebody actually says it to you, a lot of people don't know how to accept that. And it's like I tell people when they go, "You're just saying this." No, it's just accept it. That's what I see.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody else, if this is what I see. So I love that. I love it.
Yeah. First Lady, I want to thank you so much for coming to the Headliners podcast. And I really appreciate for your time and just chat with me. And hopefully people will get to see this and kind of bring value to them. And I'll be talking to you. And again, let's talk about how people can find you like on social medias and stuff.
Yes,
and the book also, let's plug the books too. Like again, the book you can find on Amazon. So we have the first book, Almost There, Almost.
Yes.
On Amazon. And Jelly Beans from Heaven. And the third one,
Me,
myself,
Satan,
God, and COVID-19.
And COVID-19. Because all four of us were in the room together.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Good reads. And I'm going to order my books today. Yes, how can people find you on social media just in case they're listening to the audio?
Well, they can either just type in my name, Sylvia Tremore Morrison, and I should pop up. You'll see this really cute. Nah, I'm only kidding.
Or you can just do, if you can spell the middle name, just Sylvia T. Morrison. So
yeah, and Tremore actually is spelled. You think of a tray
and
more.
Yeah, Trey.
So and a lot of people get it mixed up. They'll say Sylvia Trey Morrison. No. It's Sylvia Tremore Morrison. So there.
Yep. Thank you so much again, First Lady. I know I'll be talking to you soon, all right?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Absolutely.
Right. Okay, hold on.
Have a good day.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.